Who do you think is going to be the top dog of this group, or at least the couple top dogs?
Look, it's really hard for me to tell right now. I mean, look, I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, and I want people to understand. Look, I'm not a big fan of Michael Chandler, but you can't take away the fact that he's damn good.
He's good.
You know, he's got big power. He's shorter and stocky, so he's going to be harder to take down. He's got phenomenal wrestling. He's got nasty ground and pound. And when he gets on your neck, he rips it right off. You know, and so you can't take anything away from him. His defense to leg kicks is suspect. You know, so I think guys like a Justin Gaethje might be able to give him some problems, but other guys, like, to me, like, and as much as I'm a big fan of Dustin Poirier, I don't know if Dustin can beat him.
Really?
I mean, we saw the fight that Dan Hooker had with Dustin Poirier just right before he fought Chandler, and it was a big difference. You know, the power is there, and don't get me wrong, Dustin got a great chin. You know, and Dan normally has, you know, really good chin as well. But when we're having the conversation about who I think right now, the way it all sits, I mean, I would say it's probably going to. I think Chandler walks through Oliveira. I don't think Oliveira has a chance, and especially as the fight goes on, they both tend to slow down. Chandler's got more power. Chandler's very accurate. He's a lot faster and more explosive. You know, he's going to have to get past Oliveira's push kick. But Chandler's never been submitted. Not to say that he won't be submitted, that Oliveira doesn't have a chance to submit him. He does. But he's never been submitted. He's been caught in a lot of really, really deep stuff, never given up. People get on his back all the time, and he's able to reverse, get on top. And when he ends up on top, he's nasty in the ground and pound area. Look, I don't know if you ever recall training with Justin Wilcox. But that's a big. Yeah,
you can't do anything. It's like he had his arms and his legs is just like muscles. You can't do anything.
And he reminds me a lot of Michael Chandler. And so when you're talking, how do you beat him? Like, Justin was so hard to submit because his legs were shorter. He could clear his knee for knee bars all the time. Arm bars, it was hard to get. And not to mention he's physically strong, so trying to break his grip was almost impossible. Right. Getting on the neck, what neck? Like, he doesn't have a neck, But the remedy for him, for Justin Wilcox, was the same thing that Chandler's going through right now, is that calf kick. That calf kick, Chandler is susceptible to because he's got a wide base. He kind of lunges in also, so if you catch him while he's lunging in, there's a good chance you could slow him down throughout the fight. He's already had one fight where he lost the title to Brett Primus in Bellator because he had that drop foot situation where Primus had kicked him twice and his foot wouldn't respond, so the nerve is dead, and so they had that drop foot situation. They had to stop the fight. So I've seen him, throughout his fight, throughout his career, take damage to the leg, and he has not been able to recover. I think he's got kind of those chicken leg kind of things, like where it's all nerve and muscle, and then a little bit and then the bone is there. So it's so lean, and then he goes right to that nerve, and he has a hard time. So if the remedy is, like, that's why I said somebody like a Justin Gaethje has a good chance of possibly beating him, because Justin's got a granite chin, and then on top of it, I wouldn't say he's hard to take down because we just saw what Khabib did to him. So I think Chandler could take him down. Chandler could probably submit him on the ground, but in the process of him getting taken down, does Chandler eat a punch? Oh, does Chandler and Gaethje's leg kicks are just nasty, So there's a lot of questions to be answered in that fight, I think. But I think after this fight, I think it's going to be Michael Chandler will be the champion after he beats Oliveira, and then you're going to see probably the winner of Dustin and Conor. I don't know. I don't know if Dustin and Conor, and look, I'm not trying to take anything away from Dustin. I think Dustin's a fucking savage, but we all know this. Styles make matchups. Then the leg kick situation, the push kick into the breadbasket, all those things that keep range. Conor McGregor does that better than anyone. Well, he did up until his last fight. So if we get that same old Conor McGregor back, we get that one back that keeps the toe kick in the belly, like how he fought Chad Mendes. That type of scenario with a straight left and keep him on the end of your punch, he's going to be hard to beat. He's going to be a hard person to fight. Dustin will stand in front of you and take shots to give shots, and that's not something I think a lot of people want to do with Chandler. Yeah. And so, I would still call that still a 50-50 fight. I still would say that Dustin maybe has a 60-40 advantage over Chandler if he can drag it into the deep rounds like he did with Dan Hooker. But I don't know if he can. Dan Hooker thought he could do it, and it took one round. The division, I think, is wide open now. But I think your top two is obviously Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler.
I was going to agree with
those. Are my. Yeah, I think those guys. If Dustin can beat Chandler or Conor,
I think it's gonna be consistency too. I mean, like you look at guys like Chandler, he's gonna be consistent, and you look at guys, it's consistently good. You look at guys like Poirier, he's pretty consistent as well. Conor, we don't know, right? So Conor could come back and fight really good in this fight because he's super motivated because he got beat, and then not fight as good in his next fight. I don't think the consistency is as much there because he's moved on, his foot's kind of out the door. Gaethje, again, is one of my favorite fighters and can beat anyone any given day. I don't see the consistency of being a champion for like defending his title 5 times in a row. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think it's going to come down to what you said, Poirier and Chandler, and that's going to be the 2 guys that are going to be battling it out to be the number 1 guy and take over the lightweight division, in my opinion, as well. I don't think Ferguson and Dariush are going to step up and be able to hang with any of those top guys like that. They're going to have a great fight together, but I don't think it's going to go much past that.